kind of first thoughts on getting back on the floor today with your team after a long layoff?
I mean, it's good to play basketball. It's good for these guys, the mental aspect of, this is an outlet for them, and for these guys to be able to get back on the court and, relieve some of that energy, some of that stress is amazing. And even as for coaches, we want to coach them. We want to see them play against a different opponent. Just I feel sorry for some of the other guys who didn't get a chance to play today. We were really with them. We was really pushing to for everybody to be able to get on this court. But, situations come up and you just got to deal with them on the fly in this day and age.
I know as a coach, you don't want to have long layoffs, especially when you first start a season. But as far as rust goes, how did you see them kind of, slowly get into the game today? Because I know it was a little rough at first, but then you kind of found your stride a little bit later.
It's just, we've only had 5 days of practice in the last month. So, we dealt with the emotional loss of a head coach, then having to go on quarantine. It's going to be a rusty year, I would think, just across the board, across the country. But I think, one of the things the guys have done in their quarantine situation is they're trying to stay active. Guys are in there. We put weights in their rooms, and guys are getting some exercise, and they're going out as far as just hitting the track by themselves and just running so they can stay in some shape. And, a lot of times I say you got to go back to the old school and just do some form shooting, and you lay in your bed, get a ball and just flick and just keep the rhythm, the motion going so you don't lose those things. And, if you're a true shooter, it's like riding a bike. Once you got it, you'll never lose it. So, but you got to go through some repetition with your muscles and in your arm and just making sure and just imagine. It's that old imagination game right now.
You said, obviously, you only had 5 practices in the last month, just 2 games. Do you feel like you're still just kind of grazing the surface on learning about this team?
Most definitely. As a coaching staff, we're great. We're trying to figure out lineups. We're trying to figure out who can do what in different situations. In practice, after you've been practicing against some guys much, they start to know your moves. So you kind of take those things away. They're trying to figure out each other. They're trying to build some chemistry with one another. They're trying to see who can do what and who can catch what tough passes in situations from the ball handlers. And do I need to throw it up high? Do I need to throw it up low to some of these bigs? It's just a working process.
With that being said, you guys are obviously getting ready to start OVC play in a couple of days. And I know in the OVC, and you're probably experienced with it too, is that the season's kind of broken up in 2 different years, non-conference and then conference play. Since you only had 2 non-conference, games, do you feel like this team is ready to get in the thick of that OVC schedule already? Or is this, again, a slow process?
It's a slow process. I really would feel confident and even more confident about it if we had a full team. We have some guys that can do some different things, and we have guys that have some different one tricks and different things, but that complement some of the other guys' tricks and trades that they're good at. And we just haven't. We don't have everybody, so I would feel more comfortable and confident about going into OVC play if we were able to play with a full depth. And that's one of the things that was one of our strengths, is the depth that we had at the wing and the 3 and the 4. We thought we had a lot of depth, but when you don't have that and guys having to do things they're not commonly used to doing, it puts a strain on them. It gets stressful. It puts a strain on the staff and trying to figure out how we're going to play with certain guys. But we'll feel really good about going to conference play if we had everybody, even with just having 4 to 5 days of practice, because you got your full complement of guys.
Do you know how soon you might be able to get everybody back together again?
Hopefully here in the next 7 days or so. We may not have everybody as far as on Friday. Coming into this game, we had 8 players and only 7 scholarship guys out of that 8. And with Iman going down in this game, so that puts us at 6 scholarship guys and 1 walk-on. But hopefully, we depending on how Iman and the diagnosis come back for him today and tomorrow, we'll see what we can do.
Really quickly, how do you feel like under these crazy circumstances you're kind of adjusting to this new role that's kind of been put upon you adjusting to being an interim head coach for this team? And I know you've been a head coach before, but how has that adjustment been for you, especially when you've had such a limited access to your team?
Well, I got to give credit to Coach Stewart. He did a great job, and he did a great job coming in with empowering me to do different things in a leadership role in this program. And he did it for all of his assistants. One of the things that he tried to do was make sure all of his assistants were head coaches in their roles. And with me already having some head coaching experience, and one of my tasks was to get this team to play some defense and being over the defense. So from that side of just stepping into the leadership role, it wasn't a big transition. The biggest thing was just learning the courts and of all of the players, and trying to figure them out as a whole. The head coach always has some one-on-one meetings when they're recruiting guys. They get a chance to really get that feel on how you coach a certain guy. How does this guy like to be coached? So it's just trying to figure out those little quirks and different things from the head coach's standpoint side of things of being here.
My last thing for you, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. I just saw Parker committed to go to Indiana. I know it's been an incredibly tough month for him and his journey. Just kind of have any thoughts on him going about that next chapter of his life after what he's been through?
Parker's an amazing young man. He was, it's just a situation where, we're a little bit saddened because he's leaving, but we understand the situation. It's tough for him to be here without having his father at the helm and coaching him. And that was one of the reasons why he came back, was to play for his dad. As a program, a university, the staff, we wish him nothing but the best of luck. And he's always family. He's always part of the Skyhawk family. But it's tough. It's tough. And we understand that's one of the things that we didn't want to do was pressure him in any kind of way. And whether he decided to transfer or stay, it was going to be a situation where we was going to give him the time to grieve a little bit and take his time and to come back. So we weren't really expecting him back if he didn't decide to transfer to be back with us until January anyway. So I'm just proud of him. He's an amazing young man. For him in 2.5 years, to be able to come in and get a bachelor's and a master's, I mean, this guy deserves any and everything that's coming to him. And so we just wish him the best of luck.